or the reason why we see ourselves in some light that may be dark or maybe tinted or something like that, or we feel like we don't deserve $1,000,000, we feel like we don't deserve a special someone in our life, is actually because somebody told us these things, or people did stuff to us that made us feel unworthy. Hello everybody, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be teaching you how to love yourself and how to be a high value person who is on top of the spectrum at all times. I've been having way too many people and way too many girls who are asking me, you know, Ashanti, I have a friend who is so stuck up over this guy, or I lost a friend and I don't know how to, you know, live with myself. I don't know how to wake up every day and have the same motivation. Well, that's okay, because now I'm going to show you how you can maneuver your way throughout life, be a high value person, and love yourself without the need of anybody else's validation. People have been missing me, and I understand that. I've been trying to get a new camera. I've been trying to upgrade, you know, my YouTube channel, you know, technique. And I know it's a high demand for my content. I know everybody's been struggling. Everybody's been asking me, you know, Shanti, where have you been? And the answer is, I'm here right now, and that's all that matters. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So the first thing you are going to want to do to be a high value person, and the first step to loving yourself, is setting boundaries. This is a huge thing that you have to do in order to respect yourself. Basically, if you are in a situation where you're with a friend or a guy or even like a family member, those are the hardest ones actually. But if you're in a situation with any sort of like loved one or close one, you need to learn how to set your own boundaries. And it's hard because many people feel like they have to sacrifice their own beliefs in order to get closer with other people. So for example, you're with a friend, right? And she needs some money that you don't have, that you don't want to give to her. You have $100 in your bank account. You're struggling a little bit. You're struggling, okay? And she's like, I want a new tattoo. It's going to be $75. I just need you to give me some money. I'll pay you back later. You're uncomfortable with it. You don't want to do it. Okay, many people do it anyways because they feel like they have to do that in order to be a good friend, in order not to lose their friend. So they buy into it and they'll sacrifice all their money or sacrifice all their dignity or their own beliefs. Like, I don't want to give you this money. I don't have no money for that, and I don't really want to pay you. But their friend guilt trips them anyway. This is a huge thing that you need to get through your head. You do not need to do stuff that you don't want to do for other people. You don't have to do that. So a lot of people say, well, Ashanti, what if I want to keep this person in my life? If somebody's making you sacrifice your own belief in order for them to stay in your life, they are not worth your time. That's the point. That means this person needs to be executed from your life because they are not worth the time of the day. The next step to loving yourself is embracing your true talents. And I'm not talking about the talents that everybody constantly acknowledges and that everybody constantly praises you for. I mean the talents and the things that you appreciate yourself for. So for example, a lot of people say, well, you know, Ashanti, I feel like I'm so pretty and I'm so beautiful and I get tons of likes on Instagram and tons of guys think I'm cute, but they still sit around comparing themselves to other people and they don't seem super happy inside. So what I'm saying is you need to embrace things about you that will never change. No matter how you look, no matter how you feel, these things are going to be permanent characteristics of yourself. So for example, a way that people who don't value themselves think is more like, the best things about me is the fact that I'm pretty and that I'm very fashionable and that I'm good at taking pictures of myself. I'm good at camera angles. All that stuff is great. But things that people who are at a high value appreciate about themselves is the fact that they're caring, very funny, and they care to put a smile on other people's faces, that they're very smart and intelligent, and things that will never change. So instead of looking at yourself in the mirror and seeing like a hot or charismatic person, see yourself also and mainly as like a smart, intelligent, or I don't know, just like characteristics that you can't change about yourself that are extremely valuable, so that you see yourself at a higher value rather than like a more surface, cheap value. You know what I mean? The next step to appreciating yourself and valuing yourself is being your #1 supporter. A lot of people, this is actually really hard because a lot of people don't actually end up loving themselves or valuing themselves for certain things until somebody else says so. No, you have to believe that you're beautiful, smart, whatever. You have to believe it first before other people do. Otherwise, it's never really gonna happen. You know what I mean? So like, if somebody tells you, you know, you're beautiful, you're great, and then you believe it, that's great. But what happens when no one tells you that? You're just supposed to sit around and just beat yourself up all the time? No, you just tell yourself that, and then what happens is, once you start telling yourself that and you believe it, then other people start believing it too. Because even the most beautiful girls who get told that they're so pretty all the time are usually the ones who always think they're ugly, because they constantly are used to other people telling them that, and because they're not used to telling themselves that, they don't really get that, you know, feeling, that unconditional love that's coming from within. They have to wait till somebody else says it to them. This step kind of ties back to the first step. It's saying basically that you need to lose the fear of losing people. Like in the first step, you need to basically not fear losing people. And that is a huge reason why people stay in toxic relationships, because they're so uncomfortable and so scared to be alone that they actually much rather be with somebody who makes them feel bad about themselves, who makes them irritated, who makes them feel drained, somebody who doesn't do much good for them, because they much rather stay there than actually leave and see what that would be like. It's actually called loss aversion. You should look it up. It's like scientific or whatever. And it means that you basically feel like when you lose something, once you lose that thing, the gains that come after you lose it aren't worth it. And in reality, that's not actually true. So, yeah. The next step is recognizing and challenging your fears. I'm actually on that step right now, and if you don't know, when I'm at school, I don't actually talk too much. Actually, I do. I kind of talk a little too much to like people that I know, but I'm not the loudest person in the room. Sometimes people don't even know I'm there. Sometimes people are like, oh yeah, remember yesterday when this happened in math class? I'm like, yeah, I wasn't there. Like, for real? I could have sworn I talked to you. No, that must have been the other girl that looked just like me. Like, they literally do not know that I'm there sometimes. And this is a huge fear of mine, because I'm used to always being behind the scenes and kind of just not talking, minding my own business, letting everything slide, letting everybody say whatever they want without interfering for the most part. So this is huge. Putting my face out on the internet, no matter, you know, not knowing who's gonna see me, even if it's a small amount of people, it's still like really out there for somebody like me who usually stays behind the scenes for the most part. So I would say recognize, challenge your fears, do the one thing that makes you the most uncomfortable so that you get used to it. So it might be just walking around in public with a camera and like vlogging real loud or something and not caring about what anybody has to say, or being introverted and going to a party and actually challenging yourself to talk to at least 5 people or do this or do that or whatever. Just challenge yourself. Go out of your comfort zone, because that is a huge part of reinventing your identity. Basically, it's a huge technique that a lot of people use to change things that they don't like about themselves, or change things about their reality or their life that they don't like. It's actually changing their habits. So if you're used to staying behind the scenes, you would do something that's the complete opposite of being behind the scenes. And once you do that one thing, you're gonna have to do a whole bunch of other things after that. So while I'm right here in front of this camera, now I have to keep making videos, you know what I mean, progressively making them, and there's no going back. Basically, I have to keep, you know, making videos, and therefore I'm gonna be a lot less introverted or a lot less self-conscious of myself. So what is the next step, you might be asking? Well, the next step is actually going within and actually subconsciously, which means like kind of like in the back of your head, like something that's like cemented in your head, basically subconsciously cementing an idea in your head. And how you do this, one method to do this, one could just be practicing this, which is like just going through your everyday life, practicing these things that I say, and then kind of getting used to it and adapting to it, and kind of like, I don't know, incorporating these like steps into your daily life, and then hoping and eventually they would kind of like integrate into your new like identity and who you are. But if you don't want to do that and you want to do something a little quicker or a little bit more easier and in depth, I would recommend just going into a meditation. A huge reason why a lot of us have the issues that we have with ourselves, or the reason why we see ourselves in some light that may be dark or maybe tinted or something like that, or we feel like we don't deserve $1 million, we feel like we don't deserve a special someone in our life, is actually because somebody told us these things, or people did stuff to us that made us feel unworthy and made us feel like we weren't good enough. And in order to do that, we need to really go back and we need to really understand who hurt us and who said what when. And we need to talk to these people no matter where they are. But obviously that's impossible, right? We can't just find these people and go back to these experiences and have a sit down with them and tell them, you hurt me by saying this or by doing this to me. You can't do that. So what you have to do is just close your eyes and visualize it, because that's the only really possible way, you know what I'm saying? So I would recommend doing some sort of activity. It's like this meditation activity or whatever. You don't need to be religious, you don't need to be spiritual, you don't need to be anything. You just have to be a person who's ready to change yourself. That's all you need to be, okay? It's gonna be linked in the description below. It's pretty much removing cords, which is like these emotional attachments that we have to events or things or some sort of situation. So if somebody said or did something to us that was so traumatic that it changed the way that we act or viewed ourselves, we can basically go back and kind of like cut that cord and kind of be like, okay, I'm gonna detach myself from this situation that makes myself feel bad about myself, or makes me feel ugly, or makes me feel stupid. I'm gonna detach myself emotionally from that situation. And what happens is, before we know it, subconsciously we're gonna be like, I'm not that anymore, because I don't feel emotional connection to that situation anymore. I don't actually feel sad when I think about that situation because I did the exercise, and now I feel normal. I feel like I don't need to go back there anymore. So yeah, that's basically what you have to do. I would recommend just going in a quiet place, like a bathroom or your own room if you have your own room. Just a quiet, comfortable area. Sit down, take deep breaths, breathing in your nose and out your mouth is like the easiest way to do all of this. It's the more effective way to do it. Close your eyes and really dig deep inside. Your goal basically is to cry it out, let it out, and get rid of all those things and all those attachments that you have to these traumatic experiences that happen to you, because you are much more than your trauma. That's a huge reason why a lot of people get stuck, because they feel like this situation that happened to me 3 years ago, 10 years ago, that is what I am, that I will never be able to change because of that one thing that happened to me. And the truth is, you can change. And if you really want to change, like I said, not everybody has to do this. You don't even have to do this. I don't really care. I want you to, but if you don't want to change, then I can't make you change. The only thing you need is to want to change. That's it. You don't need to be super religious, super enlightened, nothing. All you have to do is know how to close your eyes and how to daydream, okay? That's it. So try the exercises and the link in the description. Like, subscribe, turn on them post notifications. More videos are going to be coming. Also, if you have any recommendations, put those in the comment section below as well. But in conclusion, have a great day, live a great life, and I wish the best for you. Bye.